20 past 4. Do you put your phone on charge before bed each night? Have you noticed your phone battery getting worse as it ages? Well, the two things might actually be linked. To debunk some of the common phone battery myths, I'm joined now by Associate Professor Ritesh Chugh, a socio-tech expert from Central Queensland University. Associate Professor Ritesh, should I be charging my phone overnight? I did last night. Am I getting this wrong?
You probably are getting it wrong, Rick, because most new generation or modern smartphones usually take about 30 minutes to 2 hours to fully charge. So there's no point plugging them in for anywhere between 6 to 8 hours overnight. And having said that, there is always the chance of your phone battery overheating. And, modern phones they have built-in functionality that automatically stops the battery from charging over 100%. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, your phone, it could have a faulty cable, for example, or you might be using an off-market charger, which could lead to overheating of the phone. And when you're in deep slumber overnight, the fire incidents could happen. In fact, the ACCC last week has issued an advisory urging people not to charge their phones overnight.
Wow, so I'm not just damaging my phone battery, I could be putting myself at risk.
Absolutely. Again, it's important, firstly, Rick, that we charge our phones in a well-ventilated area, and we don't keep it under a blanket, under a pillow or a doona overnight when just before going to bed, because the heat that the phone generates could cause a fire hazard.
Wow. But so many people listening would actually do that. They use their phone as an alarm, just put it next to you on the bed, and then you get up when the phone starts buzzing. That sounds like they're doing exactly the wrong thing.
Rick, next to bed's fine, not in your doona, because it's not a well-ventilated area. Next to your bed, you might have a bedside table. But then again, like I said, you don't need to charge your phone overnight because of the reasons of the phone overheating. Although, it's very unlikely that your modern smartphone will explode as a result of charging. However, like I've said, overheating can also happen due to other problems, such as poor quality hardware, which is your charging cable. It could be that you're using an off-market charger. Mm-hmm. And when these devices overheat, then, there are chances of fire hazards.
So there are no bargains in phone chargers. You should be getting the one either supplied by the phone company who sold you the phone, or just maybe, you do actually have to pay for quality.
Absolutely, because the off-market products may not meet the required safety standards. And the power delivery. So power delivery is actually measured in 3 different ways. I don't want to get into the technicality, but they're measured in amps, watts, and watts. Now, if these power delivery parameters are different, they will lead to overheating of the phone. But having said that, it's just not about, it is obviously, we want to reduce the fire hazards, but it's also about enhancing the lifespan of our battery. And Rick, I say this for any lithium-ion battery that we have in our homes. If you look around in your home, you will find that most households have around 10 lithium-ion battery products these days, which could be your mobile phones, it could be your laptop, it could be your tablet computer, it could be your power drill, it could be an e-scooter. So what the guideline is, and I call it the 2080 rule. Mm-hmm. The 2080 rule is you limit your charging to 80% of the full capacity of your lithium-ion battery, and don't allow it to go below 20%. In fact, this is a guideline that's also issued by most electric vehicle company manufacturers as well.
So you should have it either between 80 and 20. But I'm so satisfied when my phone is charged 100%. Why would I pull out at that moment? I'm going, I'm only 20% away from reaching 100.
Okay, now the other thing is you don't have to manually pull it, because now most phones offer functionality in the phone. So for example, if you have an Apple phone, you can go into your battery settings, the settings called optimized battery charging.
Right.
You flick a button and it stops your battery from charging over 80%. For your listeners who have Samsung devices, again, there is a functionality in your battery settings called protect battery. Just flick it on, it won't charge your phone over 85%. Now, this comes back to the point. Why do manufacturers have these functionalities built into the phones? Because they know that battery lifespan can actually be extended if we restrict charging or full charging to 80% capacity. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have these functionalities built into the phone, Rick.
But you're left to charge to 100% because your phone battery will get shorter, I presume, and you'll have to buy a new phone. Is that what the phone companies are doing there?
Oh, no, it actually enhances battery life. So I've been doing it for a long time now. You will see that the battery life extends if you just limit your charging to around 80% of the full capacity. And there is no need to charge it overnight.
So how can we expect these batteries? You mentioned how many products they're in. How long should these batteries last us if we're doing everything you suggest?
Okay, so battery life is usually measured in terms of the full charging cycle, which means going from 0 to 100%. Now, if Apple says that for their products, the Apple phone, for example, is designed to retain up to 80% of its original capacity at 500 complete charge cycles. And 500 complete charge cycles is usually about 1 year.
Right.
So they say after that, you will see a dwindling performance of the battery.
My phone's a lot older than that, though.
Again, see, it is important for us as a user to try and make the most out of our battery life. So that's why these tips, again, the other thing, Rick, it's important for your listeners to also install the latest software updates.
Yes.
Because often what happens with the latest software updates is they have battery efficiency enhancements that are built into the software. I mean, I just gave you example of 2 enhancements. Where you can go into your settings and you flick the button and say, well, don't charge it over 80%.
And what's that called for Apple and for the other phones? The Apple one is...
For Apple, it's called optimized battery charging.
Optimized battery charging, right.
Yep. And for Samsung, it's called protect battery.
Protect battery for Samsung, optimized battery charging for Apple. Ritesh, I could promise that I will do that, but, well, I will.
Well, you should really try doing it, Rick.
And that will make my phone last longer. I think everyone's very keen for their phone to last longer.
Let's just move away from phones for a bit. Let's look at all the other devices in our homes. You know, the ACCC, one of the reasons the advisory was issued is because they have received a lot of complaints of lithium-ion battery catching fire. You know, a simple Google search will tell you that as close as last week, there was a fire reported in Sydney because of a lithium-ion battery. So we have to take protection measures to ensure that this doesn't happen. Well, and if sorry, Rick, sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
If you ever have a faulty cable, a faulty charger, if you see that, you know, sometimes the cables also overheat, please unplug it. Do not use it. And what overheating of phones also causes is you will see a bulging back on your phone because the battery tends to expand or swell. And unfortunately, what happens is, in spite of those, you know, symptoms, people will still keep charging their phones.
Absolutely.
Till the time there is a problem, and we don't want that to happen.
My charger's fraying. I'll just get some sticky tape. Problem solved.
Yeah,
get a new charger. Get a new charger. Get a good charger. Associate Professor Ritesh Chugh, I feel very shamefaced. I feel like I'm not doing the right thing, but I will change my ways. I'm sure many of our listeners will. Thank you for your advice today.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Now, you might not have heard earlier, but Ritesh Chugh is a socio-tech expert from Central Queensland University, and he told me that I was doing just about everything wrong with phone charging. I was charging overnight. I was just all over the shop, waiting till you get to 100%. Apparently, you shouldn't charge your phone to 100%. We've had a text in on 0487 99 1057 on phone charging. A lot of the population get charging anxiety, similar to range anxiety experienced by EV owners. Thank you, anonymous texter. You can certainly use your phone if it's fully charged, or maybe 80% charged is where you should be taking it. 0487991057 to tell us what your phone anxiety is like. I'm certainly having it. My phone is in the red. Whenever my phone's in the red, I feel a little bit anxious, it must be said.